What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and in today's video, I'm going to be looking at an ad that Donald Trump posted on his Twitter a few weeks back, and I think it's really interesting. I think this ad is basically a 1-minute summary of what his entire campaign strategy will be going into November. Obviously, the coronavirus has changed a lot of things. And I think it's also changed how Trump's campaign is and just how campaigns are going to go generally with all the digital ads and such. But what I'm going to do is let's just watch this 1-minute video, and then I'm going to break it down in easy to digest chunks and tell you what that will mean going forward in the campaign. So without further ado, let's start this ad.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
My administration will take all necessary steps to safeguard our citizens from this threat.
Hysterical xenophobia. Giving Americans a false sense.
Is it accurate that if these steps had not been put in place, it could have been 2 million people dead here in the United States?
Yes.
No matter how hard they try to stop us, they can't.
We built the greatest economy the world has ever seen, and we're going to do it again. Together, we're beating back the invisible enemy.
What the federal government did was a phenomenal accomplishment.
Through it all, the world has witnessed the unyielding resolve of our incredible American people.
Promise made, promise kept.
And I'm fighting for you, and I love doing it with everything that I have. And you know that. With the grace of God, we will win this war, and we will win this war quickly. And we will make America great again.
So I think that's pretty interesting, and I'm just going to go into a quick PowerPoint and just briefly touch on 7 things that I think are in this video and that Trump will do going forward in the campaign and until the election, which is in 6 months. So one thing I just thought was pretty interesting is looking at this video, it seems like an Avengers movie trailer, like one of these superhero movies where like Trump is the superstar. There's like there's inspirational music in the background. You see the planes flyovers. And so this is just one clip that I think kind of embodies what I'm talking about.
Yes.
No matter how hard they try to stop us, they can't.
We built the greatest economy the world has ever seen, and we're going to do it again. Together, we're...
So I just think it's funny, like especially the little clip where the plane is flying over. You hear the jet, and you have the people cheering in the streets. I mean, that's very reflective of like one of these Avenger movies where the superhero is flying over and the people on the ground are clapping. And then also just with the little text on the screen, like this November, the greatest American comeback is written. It is like the movie is going to come out in November. And I think this is an effort of Trump trying to get people to the polls for sure. And I think he's just trying to get people excited. I mean, everyone likes the Avengers movies pretty much. I mean, I guess if you are into superhero movies, but I mean, they're very inspirational. And I think Trump is kind of trying to use the same strategy and kind of portray himself as this superhero-like figure. So I didn't think it would be this explicit, but it's pretty funny. And I bet in future ads, Trump's campaign will have kind of this inspirational music and have Trump look very like strong and presidential and like a leader. So next up is the fact that Trump is trying to portray himself as this underdog. So in 2016, he played very heavily on this. Remember, he was behind in the polls. Everyone thought Hillary was going to win. Hillary was a very seasoned politician. Trump was just kind of this political outsider. And it was the 2016 election came this huge thing. It's like Trump is going to make America great again. And in the video, you see it's this November, the greatest comeback story is written. So he's trying to portray himself as the underdog again. And it's not going to be written the greatest comeback story if he doesn't win in November. So basically what this ad is saying is that it's not a comeback story yet. Like he has to finalize it and he has to win in 2020. And like the Trump's going to say, oh, like the Russia collusion story. Everyone thought that was going to destroy me, the impeachment, and now with the coronavirus and the economy tanking. And one quote from the ad is, no matter how hard they try to stop us, they can't. And I think this is going to be something that he plays on a lot in 2020, that, look, I'm a fighter. The media is trying to do all they can to tear me down, but they aren't going to be able to, because my loyal supporters and I, if we get to the polls in November, we can come back and we can fight against the liberal establishment. So I think it's pretty interesting, and I think it is a very effective frame. So next up, what I noticed in this ad is like how many times we saw clips of even Democrats and also just like kind of the normal American people on the front lines, whether it's nurses or, I mean, all different people, like holding up signs saying like, thank you, President Trump. And even like Governor Newsom and Governor Cuomo, who are both Democrats, and Wolf Blitzer kind of saying, look, President Trump did do some good things. And one thing that's interesting is CNN is actually trying to block this Trump ad because they allege that the Trump campaign deceptively edited what Wolf Blitzer said in this video. And then the Trump campaign is firing back, saying CNN is trying to censor this video. And I think this is going to happen a lot going into 2020. People are going to allege that the Trump campaign is lying in their ads, and Facebook, YouTube, and Google are going to have to make a decision whether to air it or not. And so I just want to play this clip from the ad of where they're all thanking President Trump. Oh.
Promise made, promise kept.
And I'm fighting for you, and I love doing it with everything that I have.
So I think one thing that this is trying to portray is that Trump actually has a lot of support. And in fact, it is patriotic to support the president in this time of like war almost against this invisible enemy. And see, just showing these clips from Democrats, what sort of shows that there's bipartisan support for President Trump, which there really isn't in reality, and that the country needs to come together. And by voting for President Trump in November, that you are kind of supporting this idea that the country can come together. And definitely, I think with Trump's ego, he likes people thanking him for all this, for all he's done too. So I'm sure President Trump likes that. And I think it's just trying to portray this idea that President Trump's real support is larger than what you hear in the media and on CNN and MSNBC all day, that like Trump's approval ratings are down. And I think this can be a very effective appeal, because when you show it in a video or a picture, that's more concrete than just like a percentage number. So next up, one theme I think we see in this video is that Democrats like Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, their only concern right now with the coronavirus is to hurt Trump politically. And I'll just show you this clip.
This threat.
Hysterical xenophobia, giving Americans a false sense of.
So you see Nancy Pelosi ripping up his State of the Union address, and Joe Biden calling, and the context for that is Joe Biden is calling or saying that Trump should not resort to hysterical xenophobia during the coronavirus, and he's mainly talking about Asian Americans in that sense. And what the Trump campaign is trying to say that when Trump banned Chinese nationals from coming to the United States on January 31st, they're trying to tie that into when Joe Biden is saying hysterical xenophobia, which those two are pretty correlated, because Joe Biden said that the day after that Trump made that decree, and his campaign said that they would have not made that move, even though in retrospect it probably was a good move. And in fact, now Democrats are saying that Trump didn't do enough. He should have made that travel ban even harsher. But of course, hindsight is 2020. And then we also see a clip of Nancy Pelosi eating ice cream and kind of laughing. So it's kind of this boogeyman type persona that they're trying to portray, and I think it could be effective. And I think it's interesting, kind of the dichotomy between like Andrew Cuomo and Gavin Newsom. Like they're supporting President Trump, but then you also have Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi who are going to be on the ballot in 2020 and who are going to be in a lot of these negative campaign ads. They are portrayed as just only attacking Trump. And then you also see one of the reporters in the newsroom asking Trump kind of a negative question. And definitely Trump is going to play that up very hugely going into 2020. So next up, I think one theme that we see in this video is an idea of wartime unity. So let me just play this clip to kind of show you what I'm talking about.
Through it all, the world has witnessed the unyielding resolve of our incredible American people.
Promise made, promise kept.
And I'm fighting for you, and I love doing it with everything that I have.
So what Trump is trying to portray here is that we need to come together as a country. Look, I'm the president and I'm fighting for you, and you're doing really great with the social distancing and with especially the first responders, the medical community on the front lines. You're really doing it, and we just need to hold this out for a little while longer, and then there'll be sunshine at the end of the tunnel, and then we can do it. And what this kind of reminded me of is in World War II, we saw the propaganda posters of like, we can do it. And I mean, definitely propaganda kind of has a negative connotation, but I mean, the United States government used it all the time during World War II. And I mean, you could even call this Trump ad propaganda, just like all campaign ads. I mean, Biden campaigns are propaganda. So I think it was pretty interesting recognizing that similarity. So one thing I think is really interesting is so Trump's campaign slogan for 2020, his official one, is "Keep America Great." With the coronavirus and the economy in the tank, and I don't think anyone would call America's current state right now great. So I don't think "Keep America Great" works, because if we were to keep where we're at right now, no one would call that great. And if we notice at the end of the Trump ad, instead of like Trump saying his final campaign is "Keep America Great," he says "Make America Great Again," like he did in 2016. So I'll just show you this clip real quick.
With the grace of God, we will win this war, and we will win this war quickly, and we will make America great again.
So I think it's pretty interesting. Trump is going back to what worked in 2016. And this honestly makes sense. One quote from this ad is Trump says, "We built the greatest economy the world has ever seen, and we're going to do it again." So I think that maybe a more appropriate campaign slogan, obviously he's not going to use this, is "Make America Great Again, Again." Because what he would argue is promises made, promises kept. We made America great again, but then the coronavirus hit, and so now we need to do it again after we already did it again. So I think this is going to be pretty interesting. I definitely think you're going to hear "Make America Great Again" a lot more than "Keep America Great," especially when the economy is still doing very poorly and unemployment numbers are up. And this article from the Bulwark was pretty interesting. It's like, are we still doing "Keep America Great"? Trump is going to need a new slogan. And so I definitely agree with Jonathan Last in this article. And so I think it's going to be very interesting. And we're going to see this a lot in future Trump campaign ads. And lastly, I mean, this isn't necessarily a specific thing in the video, but overall, I think that this ad is very well done for the reasons I said before. It's very slick. It looks like a real like a Avengers trailer, like I said. I wasn't meaning that in a disparaging way. I think that the Trump campaign did a very good job with this. But I think it is a reflection of how much money and how much expertise, especially the Trump campaign, has on the digital side. Recently, Brad Parscale called the Trump juggernaut campaign the Death Star. And I think, I mean, this is kind of a very good metaphor. He says it is firing on all cylinders: data, digital, TV, political surrogates, coalitions, etc. In a few days, we start pressing fire for the first time. And I think this one ad was kind of one of their first firing ads. And obviously, Trump has raised a ton of money, more than any other president thus far. And he started raising it right after his reelection. So, I mean, Trump's campaign is firing on all cylinders. In 2016, he had a very bare bones campaign. And going into 2020, he's going to have a very, very, very good campaign. It'll be interesting to see how much of an effect it's going to have, because America is very polarized, and Trump does have high disapprovals right now for an incumbent president. But I still think that Trump's campaign is going to be fairly effective. And just with, I mean, this $212 million just in the first quarter, even with the coronavirus, it demonstrates that his supporters are still very loyal and willing to shell out the money. And one article that it was pretty interesting, I read it earlier last week, is the $1 billion disinformation campaign to reelect the president. This is definitely a left-leaning article. It is pretty disparaging, kind of against Trump's campaign techniques, but I think it does give a pretty good kind of insider view of what the 2020 election is going to look like. And also, I mean, I think Biden's campaign is going to have some disinformation too. I'm not trying to make a judgment on whether, like, what I think is right. But one interesting thing it talks about this is, like, what are YouTube and Facebook going to do when people accuse Trump of lying in his ads? Like, are they going to be able to show them or not? Or, like, are these big tech conglomerates going to be the gatekeepers? And I think that would be a huge concern. I'm very against censorship. I think that campaigns should be able to run their ads even if there is misinformation in them, because I think censorship is a very slippery slope to 1984 type things. But it will be very interesting, and there will be some fake news. I hope it doesn't have a huge effect, but both sides are going to be doing it, even if the media really only focuses on fake news on the right, which they do right now. So thank you for watching my video. Subscribe if you haven't. One more day until the giveaway. And in a future video, I don't know if it'll be my next one, I'm going to be doing the same thing for Biden's campaign. I'm going to look at one of Biden's ads and break it down. And please comment what you thought of this video. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm biased? Please just let me know, because I'm really trying to improve. I'm new to this. And obviously, I'm not going to change who I am or, like, how I do things completely, but I would love just some advice on how to do this going forward. So thank you so much.